Heat or cold, we hold the line. Answers you need, clear and fine. Experts talking, truth in mind. This is the HVAC grapevine.
Well, a little bit of intro change there, as you may have
love it.
seen. Yep. I seen our guest who's coming on tonight. I think she got a kick out of that intro. We're going to jump in there in just a second, but welcome to the HVAC Grapevine Show, where we talk about three things that I mentioned in the beginning that I can't talk about out loud here.
No trade secrets
Yeah,
allowed.
no trade secrets. So, man, all right. Another week on the show. And tonight we're going to talk to Nikki Krueger. And before I bring her on, I'm going to go ahead and mention something that I've thought about periodically. A shout out to Nikki for this one. So when I first came on board with TEC, I had to, do stage appearances and do some conversations. And I'll tell you what, I went on stage with Nikki. And I was thinking, okay, this is going to be fun. This will be fun. Me and Nikki were friends. We'll do this presentation together. This was at Brian Orr's event.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And it was like one of my first ones. And I was probably overly cocky for what I thought I knew and I didn't know. And then all of our friends and more people blasted a million different questions about dehumidifiers our way. And I'll tell you what, I learned something at the end of that class, and this is what I learned. One, I got super humbled, and two, I had mad respect for Nikki having to do her job, because I was like, if you imagine how many questions about air conditioners and where you can put them, that's like a times 10 problem for a dehumidifier.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so many different orientations, man.
What if I do it this? What if I duct the supplier this way? What if I pipe it into the return? What if I decide to bring dedicated fresh air in and then do this? It's like they could never stop. You could creatively install a dehumidifier a bunch of different ways. Some of them not good, some of them better than others, and you got to be on your toes. So,
and one application you can't even do in Florida. It's actually goes against code.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
is wild.
It's just, it's a lot of interesting questions that you could bring up with dehumidifiers.
Yeah.
So, spoiler alert, Nikki Krueger is our guest tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her on. Hey, Nikki.
Hello.
Nikki.
That was a great presentation that we did at Brian Orr's. That's when we came up with the do the do.
Do the
yes,
do.
That's what it was. I think I was there live. I was in the Yeah.
Does that feel like 5 years ago?
No, I mean, I can't even believe that I'm already getting ready for the next one. Is it number 8? 7?
I think 8. Yeah.
Is it 8? I thought it was 7.
Just got my tickets. Hold on. Let me see. Keep it in the mailbox, But yeah, I think it's 8.
I think it is too. I mean,
another shirt.
Yep. We've been doing it since the very first one. So exciting.
Yeah. It is exciting. It's the Super Bowl.
Oh, man.
For me,
best.
For sure.
It is the best one there is. There is no doubt. The people
who'd we get to meet? Last time was I got to meet Gary Nelson. This guy brings him.
Gary popped in last year. He's been wanting to go every year, and he's just always had something going on. And so, but last year he got to come. He really enjoyed it.
I saw Corbett Lunsford there. He comes up to me. I'm like, what are you coming up to me for? I should be coming up to you. Who else was there?
It's a great community. It's just everybody
wild,
and it's small. Everybody is accessible and friendly and just wants to make the industry better. And that's, what Brian and Lilani have brought.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. Yeah. It's great.
Nikki, What's the craziest installation question you have had about putting in a dehumidifier?
Um, and to be honest with you, it wasn't even a question. The guy was actually doing it. Putting dehumidifiers in vented crawl spaces.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And he was just doing it automatically and he wanted to just kind of have your opinion on it,
He
or
was like, well, things weren't quite going the way that he thought they should be going. And I think homeowners weren't getting quite the results that they thought they should be getting. So,
wow.
and he had done several of them like that. He had put in dehumidifiers in the
It's
vented
just
crawl.
open.
The vents were open.
I mean, if you want to dry the world out,
Yep.
you
Yep.
know,
Yeah.
I mean, and it's not uncommon when we were at trade shows that we will get people come up from, Hawaii and the Grand Cayman Islands, and they're like, oh, we need dehumidifiers, and I'm like, you absolutely do. Do you ever shut your windows or doors? Nope. And I'm like, I can't dehumidify an island.
so crazy, so crazy.
But
I hate that. I got to do one more shout out. Thule was there too.
oh yeah, Thule was there. That was a good one.
Thule, Mad Air. Yeah.
And Anthony Cox.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the demo house. That's the best.
Unreal.
Yeah,
Unreal.
I just,
Sorry, I apologize, Nikki.
No, that's fine. I just presented with Anthony a couple weeks ago
That's so
at their
cool.
builder boot camp at CHP. So I got to
Oh,
go out.
they've got a cool facility over
They
there.
do have a very cool facility.
Very impressive. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's and that I think all goes back to every time that I train or I talk or someone asks about a dehumidifier, I think taking it to this extreme is a vented crawl space. But first and foremost, we talk about, well, how leaky is the house? And,
Right.
We got to try to seal it up and control the indoor environment as much as possible if we want it to be successable. So
Yeah. Not everybody's as nerdy as our group in the grapevine. We all got blower doors.
yeah.
I would say we nerd out way too fast sometimes. So here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to reel it back a little bit for this show, because this is what I'd like this show to be for somebody who's watching it.
Dude, I totally agree. We got to reel it back a little bit.
Let's say we got somebody who's like, I don't know, 1 or 2 years in the HVAC trade, and they're looking at dehumidifiers for a solution. I'd almost like this show to be like a way to say, what should I know and what should I prepare for? Like, how do I make sure I'm doing this the right way? And
Right.
Nikki, you probably said this more times than you can count, and you probably this is like, oh my God, here we go again.
No, not at all. And I think it's even for them, it's, well, what do you mean I need a dehumidifier? I've been taught the air conditioner takes care of the latent load, and
Right.
possibly when it's running, but we have seen our construction practices become tighter, and you can get a tight built home even with code, right? I mean, building code is getting us to a more tightly sealed house.
Yeah.
Our
Texas is 5, right?
Yeah, I mean,
That's good. That's good.
2021. Is it down to 3 yet for
Yeah.
IR?
Well, 2021 IECC is down to 3,
3,
but
right?
it depends on which municipality what they want to adopt, for that
Exactly.
area.
Right.
But
Exactly, but it's out there.
standards are
It's
3.
out there, and usually once it's out there, you'll get your early adopters, and then it'll start,
Right.
evolving.
And to dumb it down for the audience, right, Chris?
Go
We're
ahead.
talking air changes for a house at 50 pascals, right? So it's like we're talking blower door situation, which is a test.
Yeah.
All right. Which relates to how leaky the house is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is like a
Well-
20-mile-an-hour wind, right, on a house.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
to make it even more like relatable.
Yep. So
with
when
that-
Nikki gets the question of which size should I do, it's
Oh.
like, well, what
What's
kind
the
of
old-
Swiss cheese house you got?
Well,
Yeah.
I think Mike took us down the first good question. Is like, how, people always ask, how do I size my dehumidifier?
Well,
Yeah.
and that's kind of what I go through is, well, do we know how tight our house is? Do we know, how leaky it is? What is the HVAC system? And if we can, this one always kind of takes people back. Do you know the sensible heat ratio of that HVAC equipment?
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Since
right.
what?
That's
Do
blue.
we know how well it's going to dehumidify when it is running?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
and so we got that. What's the ventilation strategy? I mean, are you in a
Right.
humid climate, mixed humid climate using exhaust only? Okay,
Yep,
then
right.
we've got to talk about this. So how many people? Where's it located? There's so many things. We try to keep it simple with saying going by square footage, right? And
Yeah.
we are very conservative in our square footages for recommendations because, again, and we've talked about this at Brian's event too, at HVAC School Symposium, when Ken Gehring and Andy Ask were there a couple years ago. And
Yeah,
we
that
had
was
them on
awesome.
stage. And it's, we don't want to oversize a dehumidifier
Right.
drastically either, right? But
Right.
you do want a little bit more capacity than you maybe are anticipating, because just like an HVAC system, as soon as you give people control, they're probably not going to run it the way that you have designed it, installed it, and anticipated how they're going to live in their house.
Fair.
So,
Yeah.
you probably want a little bit more than you need. And just because you can't account, we are traditionally brought in to solve a problem. That's one of the other questions too. Oh, can I retrofit this? I'm like, we invented these in the mid 90s. 90% of them out there are in retrofit situations. So absolutely, you can retrofit these.
I'm trying to get the builders that I know to kind of like start through these, on the front end. And
it's
and
happening.
I'm that technician. I'm the guy who went to the symposiums and didn't know about dehus. And I lived in Florida. I just don't get it. Like now I'm like, everybody needs one. Now I got one in my house and I'm like, I really don't care about an inverter now. I'm like, I got single stage equipment with the RH is satisfied. So I'm like, I'm not super excited about getting an inverter anymore. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, once you control that relative humidity, the comfort is just,
yeah.
I stayed in a hotel room last week in the DC area and walked in, and I mean, this is DC. This is what we for sure in the South, right? Florida,
Right.
Louisiana, Texas. You walk in, carpet feels wet,
Oh,
furnishing. There's the
Yeah.
smell.
Feels like home.
Feels like
This was Northern Virginia, Northern Virginia, and I walked in, and I'm like, oh, it was horrible. It was. And this hotel isn't very old, and you just walked up in the hallway and you could see bubbling paint in the ceiling. And you could see, and it's just like, it's so hard on everything, right? That when you have elevated relative humidity levels for extended periods of time, not only is it your comfort and your health, but boy, that durability, of your house.
It messes the ship up real bad. It really does. But the coolest compliment was when it was raining out. And I just put my dehu in, and my buddy comes by, drops something off, and he's like, "Dude, what are you doing in here?" And I looked at my wife, and she looked at me. I was like, "That thing's running." It's been like raining for like 2 days. Oh man, that was awesome.
He walks in and you yell at him, "Dude, shut the door!"
Yeah,
What are you
shut the
doing?
door. Shut the door. You're letting all that humidity in.
So Nikki, if I may, I'm just going to jump in and reeling it back to maybe someone who's trying to learn.
Yeah.
If I know what you were saying, it's like to make it simple, you go off square footage. And I think the reason, maybe you tell me, but it makes kind of sense. And I get what you're saying, be conservative. Let's go going the other route is you'd want to have a manual J. You'd want to have a load calculator on the house. That'd tell you your latent load of the home. Along with a blower door test. And let's just face it, a lot of the times that information is not being gathered.
Yeah.
And
Now,
so, if you're being very conservative on the square footage, are you can kind of say, hey, if this house did have a load calculation on it, it'd be somewhere around this or more. And we're estimating a little more,
yeah,
assuming it's a code built home.
yeah,
So it's like,
exactly. Manual J's are important. That tells us a lot, you
Yeah.
know. But it still isn't going to tell us how people live in there, which is
Right.
always, like I said, that wild card. And especially what I want the thermostat set at is not what my husband wants the thermostat set at. So, thinking that they're going to run that thermostat at 75 degrees, I think some of the biggest challenges for, to watch out for as you get into the business and get into more homes, which is probably going to come at you pretty quickly because it's very common, is the primary suites are like number one calls that we get, that they want to keep the thermostat in there like it's 65, 68 degrees. They've got an ensuite bathroom. The humidity's horrible. There's mold growing. I want to put a dehumidifier, just in that space. And
Right.
it's like, well, let's think about this a little bit here. Because one thing you should know is a dehumidifier is going to generate heat as a byproduct of
Right.
removing water. So we got to think about, think things through here. But that's probably the number one primary area where if you were to say, where's the smoke and gun, that's usually where people are going to get the most amount of calls from. That's going to trigger somebody coming in, and then you start looking at the whole house too, right? It's like, it's not just that area, but it's
so you don't want to just throw your new wall unit in a big primary. And in this scenario, you're talking the big one with the big walk-in shower.
Yeah, and I would try to never put a dehumidifier solely just for one space if possible.
Like spot control, right? It would just run all day.
And it's like that in wall. We have people all the time. I'm just going to throw an in wall in the bathroom.
Right.
It's like, well,
right.
no, let's get our ventilation exhaust correct for that space. And then let's think about what's going on, why that's not satisfying that if we are doing it correctly. You put that in-wall dehumidifier in a bedroom and that's all they're going to hear at night.
Yeah.
They are not, it's only 45 decibels, but it's as soon as you put something in below in the room or above the room, that's all they're going to hear.
Yep.
And then you're going to get a call back.
Yep, exactly.
So yeah, that's a challenging one. But I think with dehumidifiers, we need to realize that our HVAC equipment is being designed more and more to get to that thermostat temperature as quickly as possible, and as energy efficiently as possible. So we're not getting our coils as cold as we used to. That 49 degrees, and now we're more at that 59 degrees, and it's not removing as much water. So we need to think about, yes, our air conditioner removes water when it's running as a byproduct of getting to a temperature. Can we overcool the dehumidifier? Well, sure you can, but only so much. 3 degrees, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's bad out there. I did a job with Donald Brodsky down in Boca. Yeah. He's awesome. And I went and helped him out. And he's got a true flow grid. So we ran his true flow grid. And this one problem house, it was just like 450 CFM per ton. I was like, should we do any other testing? Because this is so off the rails on airflow. They just weren't getting any humidity control with the current AC. And like him, we're always quoting an attic dehu on his home performance jobs. So
I mean, you talk about a guy who's just dove in. I mean, feet first.
I know, it's awesome,
incredible. I mean, not only just into the HVAC, but the building science. I mean, it's incredible. Yeah, I so much respect for him.
He's a trip.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
he's so modest. He's like, you know, come on, you know, show me some things. I was like, dude, you're killing it. What are you talking about?
So
He's a
Nick,
trip.
oh,
Yeah.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead. No. Go ahead.
You know how I am, Nikki. I always like to nerd out pretty
Yes.
hard. So I got to switch gears for a second.
Okay.
I am going to show you the manual because I have a manual question for you.
Okay.
And I'm curious what this means. There's, do not locate the return in a bathroom or a kitchen. What is the reasoning behind the kitchen?
Because it's more of a spot situation versus, we would like a dedicated return from a central location in the house.
Okay.
So to try to keep pressures in the house as non-disturb as equal as possible, whatever that may be in that house, we know that's never the case, right?
Yeah.
But pulling from a central area in the home, similar to, your thermostat is reading more of a central location. The relative humidities reading more of a central location, and we want to pull. And typically, if we're in a central location, we're pulling from an area where typically the most people are the most, which is generating the most amount of humidity.
Yeah. Yeah. And the area I grew up in, Louisiana, like everything, the reason my mind asks that question is because lots of people's homes have a kitchen and a living and it's combined. It's just this large, that's part of the large open living space.
Exactly.
So in my mind, I'm thinking, well, that's seems a little odd, but I bet there's a lot of kitchens, especially where I live now, where the kitchen is like in this isolated section of the house.
It is very isolated. Yep. Being from the
Yeah.
Midwest. And you got to remember, we're a Midwest company, right? We're Madison, Wisconsin. Ken Gehring, Madison, Wisconsin, the man who, is part of inventing these. So, but trying to keep it, now we're seeing more open concepts. So kitchens and living rooms are all more one, but it really is more. And we say that pull from a central location.
Yep. It just,
you do get that people like, I just want to focus on my kitchen. It's like, we got to think big picture here.
Yeah.
Dave Krueger was saying new homes in Florida, you're required to provide a load calculation for DHUs. I told him I don't think so, but you guys heard anything about that?
A load calculation for So is that the latent load?
Well, I really don't think we have to here.
Yeah, Mike, this is your
anywhere across the country, do they require a load? Probably not, I would say. I mean, they're barely doing load calcs for ACs for my DHUs.
That'd be the first I've heard about it for a dehumidifier.
Yeah, and really, your DHU load would be your ASHRAE humidity load, right? Is that what it's called? The ASHRAE, because there's your peak load conditions for sensible, and then your peak humidity loads. Which
I heard somebody talking about that. Yeah.
What's it's escaping me right now.
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
There's a fancy word for it.
There is.
I'm gonna butcher it trying to just spitball it, but
Anthony's on here. He'll tell us soon.
Get in there.
Incoincident. You're incoincident. Nah, you know what I mean.
No. Where you at?
Oh, yeah, manual. Okay, Dave just said manual LLA procedures for
site. Yeah, your highest.
Low load home.
Yep, that's the one I was involved in.
Okay.
Yeah. Your highest dew point days. I'll cheat and go the easy way.
Highest dew point days, which usually is about a 10-degree difference than your peak load condition.
Right.
So when your humidity is high is not when your temperature is high. And so that's the challenging part, is that you got to think about your AC isn't going to be. Oh, there we go. Anthony came through.
There he is.
There we go.
Coincident.
Man of the hour.
Dew point.
Always there when you need him.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because it's like I think you were saying it was like around 80 degrees in Florida. It was not, because I'm designing for 91 in my area.
Yeah.
So
And that's when your dew points are going to be the highest, which is usually, morning times, overnight times, shoulder seasons. We always say, and, AC is king. When the AC is running, it should be removing as much water as possible. And
right.
then the dehumidifier's queen. And, as this is what Ken says, when the king's sleeping is when the queen will shine, right? That's when the AC is not running. That's when the dehumidifier should be
Yep.
coming
And
on.
you got a good king and queen, the country's happy.
There you go.
So there was a post online the other day, maybe it was about a week ago, and somebody made the comment that the house wasn't keeping humidity and they had a dehum and an air conditioner installed. And it was peak load condition from what the post was getting to.
What were they looking for? An RH?
They were looking for advice.
30?
And I don't know. I just remember
No joke. You got to ask dumb questions like that because
Yeah,
it's like
it's a good question. Yeah. No, I think it was a situation of just
something normal.
I guess what I'll tell people a lot of times is like you can't HVAC your way out of a broken house. You just can't.
Yeah.
And Nikki,
Yep.
you talk about this a lot too.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll push equipment if you want us to, but we're going to shoot you straight first. If your house is really broken, it's really broken, and you got to fix the house.
Yeah. Once you hit 5 dehumidifiers, we should do a blower door. Okay. Do an envelope leakage test. Help Nikki sell some dehus. Once you hit 5 on 2,000 square foot house, call an air leakage guy.
Well, we want it to be successful, right? And that's why we need to ask so many questions and why we need to do the due diligence, because it's people say all the time, well, a dehu's a Band-Aid. Well, that's not necessarily true.
Yeah, I disagree.
I disagree with that.
I love it. It's great.
It's now
I
part
tell you
of
what,
our,
and mine doesn't run right now. It's still, I'm getting cooler.
Yeah.
Mine doesn't run. AC's still cooking.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is I was shocked because I'm 2,100 square footage. Volume's a little bit bigger than normal, than 8-foot ceilings. I got some, vaulted ceilings.
Yeah.
And I'm 3 ACH 50 for guys that don't do blower doors. That's about 1,000 CFM 50. It's, what would you call that, Chris?
I'd call it a very good house.
Tight. It's tight.
It's a tight house.
It's the borderline on tight. And I tell you what, that 70 pint kicks butt. It just, in the shoulder season, it kicks. I was like, you know what? I'm going to need 100 or 120. And it doesn't. Now, if I do fresh air, I might slip.
Exactly. You're not doing any fresh air?
I got it all set up, but you know how the shoemaker is. Check this.
So what you're saying is
I still got the valve.
You're saying your blower door number was 3.1 ACH 50.
Right.
Did you go cut a tiny hole so you didn't have to bring fresh air in? Is that what I'm hearing?
3.1.
Yeah.
Here's $20.
I need a little bit more leakage.
Yeah.
No,
it's crazy.
I can understand. I mean, I have to have another piece of equipment. I have to maintain another piece of equipment, but once you live in a house with one, in a humid or mixed humid climate, it's a game changer. It really is.
I mean, really have taken just the want for the inverter. I'm like, I don't care. When this one breaks, we'll take it as it goes. I got my Dehu. It's crazy. Yeah. Not until you live in it, And I was selling them, It's kind of backwards, but
I've definitely lived in a house where it was like humidity was elevated, periodically, and I struggled with where I was going to put a dehumidifier in on that house, and I knew I was going to move, and I didn't want to do it, but I was making people's new construction homes super comfortable. They would have an air conditioner and a dehum, and then I'd go do their maintenance, and I'd walk in and go, "Damn, this house feels good."
It's crispy. Yeah,
and I'd be like, "Man, I want my house like this," and I don't know. Yeah,
I'm in Southern Virginia right now, and I'm using an in-wall unit just because I'm living in like a little studio cabin thing right now, and I mean, it's 2 people in there. It's running all night. I mean, the little dehumidifier right now, these shoulder seasons, is It's making
Does
a
that
huge difference.
can you get that in? Well, I guess you could get the in wall to run on a digital, right?
Well, it is digital. The digital control is underneath underneath the cover.
Underneath the panel. That's right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So you just set it and forget it. That's
Yep.
the other thing too is, um, everybody wants to mess with their at first. I want to be able
Yeah.
to control it. Can I put this on my phone? I need to see it at all times. And I understand because most of the time when someone puts in a dehumidifier as a retro, it's because of a situation, right? Like it
Yeah, they want to
hypersensitivity
know.
starts happening. And you can get your indoor air quality sensors. I have an aware one that I use, but
Oh
set it
yeah.
at 50, forget it.
Yeah.
That's what it should be. Just set it
But I got
and
mine on.
forget it. And you shouldn't have to think about it. Besides having to maintain it, which, is really just changing the filter and making sure the condensate's good.
Yeah.
They're pretty
I owe you an apology, Nikki. I was in
Why?
one of your classes and everybody's all crazy about the big 20 by 25-inch filters. I was like, yeah, we'll slap a 5-inch Merv, 13 on it. And you were like why? And now I know why, because dude, this 6-inch filter on the 70 pint, Chris, I did a video. I pulled it out and the static wasn't any much different on the new one. It didn't get that bad.
Yeah.
It's it kicked butt, that little filter.
So I will tell you, when I used to put them in as a contractor, I would go big on returns and I would make a really big, large
Right.
return air and I would do a big filter. Not knocking the filter in the unit, Nikki. I'm just saying, I tried to reduce the filtration, having to change the filter more than once. Like if I could get a year on it, I would oversize it. I'll tell you,
Right.
the biggest one I ever put in, a custom home of a guy's house I did, and I made his return air grills match. So he had, this is ridiculous, but I had two 24 by 30 return air grills in his hallway. One of them for the
20 by
dehumidifier alone.
30.
Yeah.
What size Dehu though?
In that house, it was
Don't tell me a 70. Don't tell me a
no,
70.
it wasn't a
Don't tell me a
70. It was one size bigger. I think, what's it, the 115 or 120?
Oh, goodness gracious.
What?
As long as it's not the 70, that
Tell you what, couldn't hear
he's
anything.
going
though.
for that badass drop. That's what he was going
Yeah.
for.
And
I
I
mean,
actually go for those because most of the time they're going to get changed then.
Yeah.
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 So if they're in the living space and they're accessible, as long as the challenge is people won't take the one out of the unit then. So then they'll have
right.
both. It's like, no, well, we can't do that. It's one or the other. You can't have both.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you take the one in the unit out? Or did you just go with the
No, yeah, I
what'd you
took it
go
out.
with 2-inch filter at the grill or
No, I had it was a ceiling return and I made a 24 by
Okay.
30 ceiling
Okay.
return, but it was a long hallway and he
Yeah.
had a drop down 1-foot piece of facade wood that he
Yeah.
put in the hallway. So you couldn't see the two grills after that in the main hallway. And I just stacked them up and he was really
Yeah.
cool about it. He was a builder and he was like, the industry has a problem with the idea of these return air grills, right? Like people think that if they see grills, like big grills, and they see two of them, it's like, what's weird with this house? Like that has become this
Right.
thing. Like it's the same thing with transfer grills. Like I tried to fix a house one time by telling a guy, hey, you have room pressurization problems everywhere. Like I've got one room at 20 pascals of pressure. Like we need to pop the bubble and I need transfer grills. And he's like, I can't do that. The house is going to look broken. And I'm like, the house is broken. It's broken right now. And it's really hard to communicate.
That's what everybody tells me. I'm like, I gotta fix this. It needs a grill.
Yeah. And but when I think if you get a homeowner who's understands, who can, it's tough because what you're trying to explain is probably sounds like Greek and they're just like, what?
Yeah.
But if you get
True.
somebody who listens to you and they believe you, you can do some really cool stuff. And then it performs really well. And man, all of their people come over and they go, wow, this house feels amazing. And it's like, well, I bet you'll forget about that second big return then if once you notice how comfortable this house is. And that starts to become normal. I don't know. I just wish it would be more normal than what it is. we could do some cool stuff.
I definitely think it's getting there, especially now that we do have more and more production builders even putting in dehumidifiers. And
Oh, like the Matt Reisingers and stuff.
well, no,
No,
Matt's
no.
Matt's
Oh,
custom.
he's. Oh, sorry, Matt.
Yeah.
She's talking
That was
about
a big
the other side of the
insult.
coin.
But
We
Matt,
just went viral now.
exactly, and not for the right reasons.
That's for the right reason.
Mike's just been canceled.
All right, Chris, have a good one.
But I mean, the good thing, like Matt's brought a lot of exposure, right, to dehumidifiers and to the HVAC, and but production builders, you know, a lot of them are trying to get certifications to differentiate themselves, right? Whether it's net zero or Energy Star. If you do net zero, you got to do indoor plus, you got to have a dehumidification strategy. So a lot of them now, to differentiate themselves, are looking at dehumidifiers. A lot of them, to differentiate themselves, offer indoor air quality monitors, which then tells the homeowner what's not right in that house, right?
Yeah.
Which, so then I got to fix a problem, or they got into a problem due to humidity issues and they don't ever want to deal with it.
And
again.
that's happened a lot this year. A
That
lot.
is-
Oh man, this year
The
was
last-
bad.
The last, I would say the last 3 or 4 years, but this year has been a wet year.
Mhm.
And so, it might dry out for another couple years, but then we're gonna be right. I mean, it comes and goes. But
Well, I think a lot of homeowners' eyes are open right now, and they've
Yeah.
got more resources than they've ever had before, and they're finding out things and they're getting to answers. And I'm talking about the Houston market, part of the Louisiana market. I mean, it got pretty serious this year. A lot
Yeah.
of eyes got opened.
Austin's a big one right now too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the sad thing with those is everybody, like we said before, starts pointing fingers, right? And Brian Orr wrote an article, I don't know how many years ago now. I've been using it in presentations. Brian and I have used it in presentations, but there's this list of like 10 things that can cause high humidity in a house, and you might not ever be able to pinpoint the one that's causing the humidity problem, because a little bit of humidity from a handful of those things can cause a humidity problem. So everybody's
Right.
always going in pointing fingers, you did this wrong and you did this wrong, and nobody can find exactly what the problem is. Well, a little bit from all these different sources is what the problem is, and you're not
Yeah.
going to solve it with one person coming in and saying, well, you need to tighten up the ductwork in the attic or whatever
Right.
it is. It's a bunch
Or
of
you-
different things.
Or you need
Yeah.
to quit washing clothes for the whole neighborhood.
Yeah.
Or
I had one commercial
Why
property.
do you have 2 dryers? That's
all
weird.
these plants in your house, you need to get rid of your plants. Or
Yeah.
all these kids in your house, you need to get rid of the kids.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Close that indoor pool, damn it. Put a lid on the indoor pool.
Exactly.
So,
You've done a couple of those, right? Where they have the indoor pools.
A lot. I get asked all the time to size dehus for indoor pools, and Ashley's got we basically have a questionnaire that we send over, like
That's
how
so
often
wild.
is it going to be covered? That's a big
Oh,
deal. So yeah,
It's
there's
it's huge.
It's huge. Yep.
Yeah. Just like when you're heating a pool, there's no scale. Like if you don't cover it at night, there's no scale. What usage? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I'm going to rat myself out for a second, but I think it's for the greater good of the story. Okay. So y'all bear with me. I'm going to tell some real life stuff here. There was definitely a time where I didn't own a blower door, and I was a mechanical contractor and I was doing work, and I was in the dehum game, and I did know how to do a load calculation though. And I took a different approach. And what I mean by that is there's been homes that I've been to where I've ran a load calculation, didn't run the blower door because I just hadn't brought my knowledge to that level yet. and probably had room pressurization problems and things like that. But I knew that the house could benefit from a dehumidifier. So instead of trying to tackle the house first, I put the dehumidifier in first. But I was at least smart enough to know that I wasn't 100% sure I was going to nip the entire problem in the bud, but I
Right.
knew it would make the house feel better. And so I would lead into this story kind of saying this. A house, especially where I was living in Louisiana, you could put a dehum in every house and it would be an okay thing, right? It's not a problem, right? Like having somebody this like safety net for moisture removal is a win.
Right.
So, and I
Right.
would tell them that. I would say, hey, look, this will help things. I'm not saying it's going to deliver perfection. We may have to do more stuff, but this is a good place to start.
Yeah.
And hindsight 2020, like looking back, man, maybe I was just overly confident, probably was. And I was doing, but I was like, was I making a good choice? I think so. But did I go about it maybe a different way? Maybe so.
Yeah.
You know, like maybe I did put a dehum. Maybe I didn't overpromise. So I say all
Right.
that to say, like, is putting a dehum in a good thing? Yes. Like, especially if you're in those humid climates, putting a dehum is a win. Maybe it is the right move. Maybe it is the first move. Would I run a blower door on the house? Probably so. I'd probably do that. That way, you know, I'd know if I have a really, really leaky house at this point. There's probably a lot of things I would do now. You know, I would check for room pressurization and things like that. But I don't know. I guess what I'm going down with that road is like, you know, like I the last couple shows we've had, we've talked about sales strategies, right? And during the conversation and being thorough and things like that. And I just wanted to share that, like, I made a lot of houses better, I guess is what I'm saying, by putting a dehum in. And I didn't exactly know everything under the sun about building science.
Right. You
Well,
know,
you get
be a building
analysis
scientist.
paralysis too, right? Like if you just sit there and you want to analyze everything. And
Yeah.
Right.
again, you might not ever find exactly where the problem is. It could be a bunch of things, a bunch of sources that are leading to it. So I just think as part of that, I would say you also if you got to manage homeowners' expectations as well. And at least you got to know what their expectations like going in.
Right.
And I say this all the time. If you're getting a call because of a problem, you know, first of all, find out what are their goals. You know, are they're calling because they're uncomfortable? Okay, is it too hot, too humid? What they're fixated on this numbers because they're all fixated on numbers for sure.
Yeah.
Find out what that goal is because if you don't think you can achieve that, you've got to be very careful because callbacks will kill you.
Mm-hmm.
But there also could be other things. I mean, is somebody in the house suffering from allergies or a respiratory problem? Do they have really expensive musical instruments? There's a lot of reasons that people get overly conscious of what that humidity level is. And so, you know, understanding the homeowner, talk to them about it. And maybe you go in and you start doing readings and you're like, you know, your humidity seems to be consistently over 60%. You know, let's have a conversation about what this can cause in the home, respiratory wise, health wise, comfort wise, and that as well. But and one of the places that I always tell people, you know, because they're like, okay, well, do I need a crawl space dehumidifier or do I need a whole house one? Well, you need to think about let's address what's going on below the house first, because up to 50% of the air in the living space can come from below the home. So maybe if we have a really wet crawl space, let's take care of that first. And you know, the impact on the living space could be enough that it's okay.
Right.
Nikki, I've got another question for you. But
Okay.
first, we have to play a game.
Woo.
It's time to play.
What's that noise?
What is that noise?
Did you hear that?
What in the is that noise?
It's time to play What Is That Noise?
Okay.
Are you ready? Okay. All right. Here's how it goes. I'm going to give you a quick snippet of a sound.
Oh, jeez.
And you're lucking out because I gave you like a whole nother second on this one. Most people they get like half a second of a sound. So I beefed this one up and I think I gave you like 2 full seconds. So I'm only gonna play it once, is what I'm getting at. Are you ready?
Well, let me just second.
All right.
Let me turn up my.
Quiet everything in the room.
Okay.
All right, here we go. If you're in the chat, this is your chance to help Nikki out. What is Nikki listening to? So, Nikki, I'm gonna play the sound. The people in the chat, you can look for their answers, and then if you win, you get to plug. You ready?
Hook
Yeah.
her up, chat.
Here we go. There it is. What is that sound?
Believe it or not, he played that twice as long
It
as he did
almost
for
sounds like
Bring Cooksy.
a toilet flushing.
Hold on. Let's see if we get any people in the chat who might
Can
know.
I get a lifeline?
Yeah, let's see what the lifelines have to say. If you're in the chat, you know it. Just because it's Nikki, I'm gonna play it one more.
Shoot it one
I'm
more
gonna play it
time.
one. I'm gonna play it one more. I give everybody else 2 rounds. I'm
Oh,
gonna give
there you go.
Here we go. There you go. Oh man, it's a good one. What's that sound,
A
Nikki?
drain line. That's what people are saying. A drain.
All
I
right.
don't know. I thought it sounded
Final
like
answer?
a toilet flushing, but
All right,
on
let's
a
watch.
drain that has not been primed. Matt said.
All right, so Nikki, your answer. What do you think?
I'm just gonna stick with the toilet.
Okay, here's the video. All right, so this is a teaching moment for everybody who's out there who listened to that and wanted to know what that sound was.
They got it in the chat.
That is, they got it in the chat. If you have a vent and then a trap, so the vent right is before the trap, and you pull the cap off, that air is able to circulate back to with that air conditioner blower, and that's going to cause it to not drain. So if you ever hear that
Sounds just
sound,
like a toilet.
you hear that sound, that sounds like a toilet.
It
That
sounds like
is a
a
drain
toilet.
line that is not draining. So good job in the chat. I think Matt Milton got that one.
Did he?
All right.
There you go.
Go. Very nice. Very nice.
You know, that is another one on our dehues that people put a trap in and then have it vented at the top.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It needs to be, it needs to be a closed.
So Nikki, for playing the game, you get like a full minute to plug anything you want on the show.
Oh, jeez.
Airtime.
Catching you off guard.
We got new dehumidifiers.
All right, tell us about it.
What you got?
Tell us what we don't know.
So, if you did attend Brian Orr's event last year, you saw that we had a new ventilating dehumidifier called the V155. And that is coming with an 8-inch ventilation duct instead of a 6-inch ventilation duct. So what we were finding is that we were struggling to bring in enough outdoor air for the capacity of the dehumidifier for the size of the house through a 6-inch. So we went to an 8-inch. We have stronger fans now as well.
Oh, cool.
Especially for you, Mike, down in Florida, we are now including R2 insulation in all of our V series dehumidifiers.
Oh, nice.
So that'll help with
I was-
also prevent.
I was just on the website. I had a. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah. I just had to pull it up. I wanted to see it.
Digital
Yeah.
controls, remote humidistat, so you can wire to the terminal block and just
cool.
put the sensor in the living space. Now, that was the V155. Last week, we launched the 98.
Oh, really? Oh,
Has now
the V98,
has gone to 100, so it's a V100.
V100.
And
Okay.
then
I'm gonna
the
go back on the website.
The 120 has now gone to a V125.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And
Yep.
they're
I'm on there
all
now.
the same size.
Nice.
Box wise, so the V155 is 40% smaller than our old 155s. And now the 100, the 125, and the 155, the cabinet size is all the same.
I might have to get one if I'm doing ventilation. I'm pushing the
And
limit,
you don't have to use the ventilation, right? Again, it comes with a plate over the front. You don't have to use the ventilation.
Oh,
if you
right.
want to,
Yep.
but you can use the ventilation as well.
Yeah, they
So-
look good too.
So the V is, I mean, that's a little confusing because in the past we had the 120V, which was our vertical unit,
Oh,
um,
yeah.
which we don't have anymore. But it's the V series, which stands, for that 8-inch ventilation duct.
That was like Jenry Garcia's favorite one,
loved
the
it.
stand-up one.
Yeah, it's funny because Donald Brodsky called me a couple weeks ago or sent me a text, and he's like, my distributor down here has one. I'm like, well, if you don't get it, Jenry's going to drive up there and grab that
Yeah,
one. So,
Yeah, we were on a job a couple weeks ago. He mentioned it too. I was like, I don't think they make it no more.
well, and it's not because we didn't want to. It's because of the refrigeration change.
Yeah.
That unit, the old 155 and the old 205 used heat exchanger. Used the heat exchanger inside, and that allowed us to pre-cool the incoming air in order to get to dew point faster, so we could remove more water using less energy.
Okay.
Now that heat exchanger turned out to be slightly flammable. So because of the new refrigeration change, we weren't allowed to use it anymore.
Wow. Unreal, man. We've been getting hit with stuff left and right.
Man,
so that 155 and the 205, we use a multi-coil. Now
Oh,
it's
wow.
and so basically it allows us to use that first coil to pre-cool the incoming air. Basically what the heat exchanger did, but now we're using a series of coils to do the same thing, which then allowed us to shrink the size. It's just that we didn't have time to re-engineer that vertical unit in time.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it'll come up, maybe it'll come back at some point now that we've gotten through this refrigeration change.
Yeah.
I think kind of speaking on the manufacturers of equipment for a minute, it was probably more difficult than I think most people understood what equipment manufacturers had to go through when the type of refrigerant gets changed, right? It's a curveball, a huge curveball to have to deal with. And
this
so,
one was, the whole factory had to be switched out. So you've got, fire marshals involved coming in and, being involved in the whole transition. And then, not only do you have refrigerant changes, but then, you have Energy Star changes. Every 3 years. So it kind of gets in this where you're just constantly re-engineering.
Yeah.
And, every one of those units that had to get, that we had to re-engineer for refrigeration, then you have to send out to get retested for Energy Star, which is not inexpensive. So yeah, I mean, it was ching, 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 just like Eric says down there. I mean, it is.
Man, it's crazy.
Yeah,
you guys got to know how to start.
Ching, ching.
Yeah. You got to start paying people off like the 80s, Give them a little cash under the table, get them to go away. Just a dehu, guys. Come on, back up.
Yeah.
I did want to ask you was, do the new ones have, I messed up on my video a while back on a Grapevine. I did total external static on mine. And should be just checking supply static only on these, right?
Well, if you're only tying into the supply side, but if you were going to pull a return, which you can't do in Florida, but if you're going to pull a return,
independent return is what I had.
Then you have to have total static, right? You got to.
Okay.
So, but if you're just tying into the supply, now what I would say in your house, and I don't think I knew this, you said you have a vaulted ceiling.
Yeah, I wanted to do it where it was just dumping into the main vaulted area and
Yep.
keep the
Very
static
common.
really
We're
low.
seeing that more and more where
Oh, so I was on to something. All right.
yeah, no, we are. I mean, well, you mentioned Matt Reisinger. He did that in his house. But yeah, we're
Oh, he
seeing that
did.
more and more just because of the static on the systems that
Right.
it can be challenging. So if we do have a high ceiling area that we can, distribute that warm, dry air into,
Yeah.
that's usually an easier way to go about it.
Kind of
Yeah.
keep it high. That's what I wanted to do.
Well,
Independent return.
water vapor is lighter than air, so
Yeah.
the humidity is going to accumulate more towards the ceiling, anyways.
And then I didn't have to worry about my duct leakage was low. And then I was like, man, I got to retest my duct leakage now.
Yep.
But I did tie into the supply with a butterfly. I should have
Okay.
done a zone valve. I should have Tim pistachioed it
Yeah.
and done a
Well,
zone valve.
he's ahead of
Yeah,
his time. He's an
I
he's an
know.
early adapter, so it'll
I
happen.
hope his back is doing better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nikki, I want to share a picture. And I think this is your favorite installation method. And I feel like if we don't cover this, then what are we even doing? Right?
Okay.
Give me just a second. Let me pop it up. Would you agree that this is your
Oh,
fave?
jeez. Let's find a different one. That's the
Okay.
that's
That's
the
the
old.
old one with the
Those are the old XT units.
Okay.
Yeah. No, don't ever do ductwork like that.
Okay. Sorry. Let me
That's
go.
okay.
Let me go shopping.
Go
I
see
actually had this. I had this pulled up because I was going to talk to you about
Oh,
this and
okay.
stress the fact about. This is one thing I think that gets missed a lot is running the ductwork. I think
Oh,
in our trade in general, right? Like
yeah.
we run flex and we don't really think about bends and length and equivalent length and pressure drop in that flex. But y'all kind of stress that a 10-inch duct for 25 feet. If you're going over 25 feet, kick it up to a 12-inch duct.
to a 12.
It's
Yeah.
gonna matter
That's a good
greatly,
one.
right? Because there's a limit of 0.5 inches of static. Generally, well, on this machine for sure.
On all, and that's pretty much across the board that we say that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just better safe than sorry. But yeah, you are right. That is our dedicated return to supply. It's just that that XT unit, those 155s and 205, because the
Okay.
fresh air, the return, and the supply were all on the same side.
Oh,
It wasn't
okay.
a flow through unit that when we're trying to do diagrams in a manual, you get this kink that, I mean, that's the worst duct kink I've ever seen. And that's
Right?
before I knew what I knew. I mean, that's
Yeah.
I mean,
And are we checking static before the factory Santa Fe filter or after? So
it would be before the filter and after the filter, or
before
after
the filter. Okay.
Yep. So no, we take into account the filter when we test our units.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So
So it's
I'll
like
tell you-
part of the equipment, like the coil.
It is.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
I've had this question. Somebody asked me before because I've ducked, earlier I said I would put in my own big, large filter return. And they were like, well, how did you know where you stood on the equipment? And I'm like, well, if you say, put the entire duct system in and you have a filter grill and then you put the OEM filter back in, there's nothing to say you couldn't check TESP, right? And then you could remove the filter, put your filter in, check TESP. There's different ways to pressure map with a gauge to find out what you're gaining back from pulling that filter out, I guess is what I'm saying. You could check the filter pressure drop of the OEM filter. And then when you pull it out, you're kind of getting that back to a degree. That's the kind of way I used to play the game.
That's a true flow grid guy talking right now.
Well, I'm just saying,
Super
it's
technical.
just like
Super technical.
pressure drops, man.
I would say though, in that install, the dedicated supply or dedicated return to supply, one of the most missed parts of that install is the backdraft damper on the supply side.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We got to make sure that we've got that backdraft damper on the supply side, and we can't have it right where the supply duct for the dehumidifier meets the supply duct for the HVAC
Oh, so
system.
you want it at the air
Kind
handler.
of bring it back a little bit, so you give that dehumidifier a chance to be able to power that
Oh,
damper,
gotcha.
that backdraft damper, open it up.
Yep. Isn't
Right.
that what
There you go, Nikki.
Steve
There
Rogers
we
talks
go.
about?
Yeah,
That's
that
the new
backdraft
manual.
damper
Okay.
right there.
So that's what you're talking about right
Yeah.
there.
Right there.
Go in at a 45 if you can.
Yeah.
That was what Tim DeStachio was talking about.
And if you can, go motorized damper. I've heard a lot of my friends do that. They'll do a
Yeah.
motorized damper right there.
And I agree with that as well.
hmm
Yeah.
Yep.
Because
I
if
mean,
it hangs up, you're shot. Yeah.
Man, I got to read through the brand new manual.
Yeah, that's right. You got
Yeah.
new
We
stuff.
try to give as much, cautions and information in that manual as possible. Again,
Do the new ones have different manuals, or did you copy and paste because of all the
not really.
tariffs
It's
they
a
threw
lot-
on you guys?
It's a lot of the same. It's a lot of the same, but I think a couple years ago we beefed up the manuals, I will say.
Yeah.
I know at one time they had gone to like a quick start guide, shipping with the unit, and then you had to go online to read the rest of the manual. I'm like, no, we've got people sitting in 140-degree attics trying to install a dehumidifier that can't get reception on
Yeah.
their phone to look at
Thank you,
a
Nick.
manual.
Yeah.
You know,
Really.
I'm like, the whole manual and in Spanish needs to be in there.
Yeah.
Yep.
I will say a little kudos to y'all. I'm just scanning this new piece of equipment's manual, and there's a lot more drawings in it than I've seen before.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
I'm really
Yeah.
trying to be, not take it to a Kia level, but really trying to give as much visuals as possible. Now that one right now, the 100, the 125, and the 155, as those are shipping, the Spanish version was not ready. We just got the Spanish version, so that'll be incorporated into that manual shortly. But we also, there's so many cool features with those those can all be hardwired now.
Cool.
So that one was a big one with Ross Trethui. If you know Ross from Ask This Old House, Ross has a mechanical.
I've heard that name a couple times.
Yeah. And so
He's an awesome guy.
he is awesome, but he works a lot in the Boston area where they'll put dehumidifiers above a drop ceiling. And the mechanical code will require that it has to be hardwired then.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
So and we did a lot of videos. So if you go on the website now for those units, we're doing a lot more videos on installs. If you go to our website and you click on the right hand up there where that says the partner portal, we're trying to really add a lot more technical information in there. You have to register, but basically it's just you can say, if you're installing dehumidifiers, if you want to be part of the contractor portal or the contractor, the pro locators.
Can IAQ guys do this stuff, or do they need a mechanical license? I'm sure it's different every state, because I get a lot of calls people starting to do IAQ now. They're not HVAC guys.
I think what you mean, like a mold remediation guy, I think is what you're getting at.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm wondering if they could put these in.
Oh, well, you don't have to be a licensed HVAC contractor to put in a dehumidifier, but we highly recommend it. You're messing with ductwork especially if you're messing with the ductwork of the HVAC system.
Right. But I'm saying, we were talking the one grill in like a vaulted. IAQ guys.
You're not running refrigeration lines or anything like that. But
then you got the drain line. That's a pain in the butt.
People go to Home Depot and buy a window unit.
Yeah.
It'd be cool. It'd be cool because the HVAC guys, I think, should be doing this more, and it'd be really encouraging if the IAQ community would start picking it up.
Well, at least recommending it and teaming up with the pros that are doing it and they trust. Those are great relationships to have.
Yeah. Yep. And you said what model didn't have Spanish in the manual?
Well, the new ones, the new V series ones,
Okay.
that just launched. We just
Yeah.
got the Spanish for that, so that
I was
that
going to say we
will-
could leave Jeremy Garcia's number at the bottom of the screen here. We direct all those calls to him. He could translate over.
I'm sure January would love that.
Oh, he loves helping out with stuff like that. Absolutely.
So, Nikki, I know we reached our hour, so I'm going to ask you, if somebody watched this show and you wanted to leave them with one just little last tidbit of knowledge, what would you tell them?
I would tell them that first of all, I'm very proud of them for tuning in to this show and networking with this community, because this is the community that is advancing the industry. And this is the community that is attracting more people into the trades and helping them be successful. And the more networking you do, and the more you take it upon yourself to be curious and to learn, we will all benefit from you making yourself better, because when you make yourself better, you drive us all to be better. So I have learned so much from all of you. I mean, a lot
Hasn't
of
it been a crazy ride the last couple symposiums?
I mean,
So
just
nuts.
people telling, saying, I'm reading your manual and this doesn't make sense. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. That doesn't make sense. Or
Wild.
I'm in this situation and I don't know what to do. Well, I've never heard of that, but we're going to figure this out. And you just made me better because I had to try to figure something out with you.
There's only a
And
couple
so-
of manufacturers that say that, though, guys.
Oh,
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Try
was
to call GE and get something straightened out. Actually, I did that with my dryer, and they were like, "Yeah,
Yeah, we've never
Rocks,
heard of
yeah.
that before, and we
Yeah.
think it must be your fault. I don't know.
yeah, Mike, that sounds great. We're gonna rechange the mold on that." They were like, "Nah, kick rocks, get out of here."
Well,
But
normally,
we appreciate you guys for doing that, taking
Wow.
feedback.
yeah.
So cool.
Well, normally I'd pass it around the horn, but I don't think I could follow that up. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that was community has been amazing lately. You know, like
Yeah.
what other I was joking with my electrician friend. I was like, you guys got communities like we got. I hit up guys in a group, they hit us right back.
Yeah.
Find solutions. It's amazing.
And what I love is, I can't be, in the HVAC Facebook groups all the time or the LinkedIn groups, and I'll get on and someone has asked a question or said something about, dehumidification, and the number of people that have already jumped in
Isn't
and
that crazy?
answered, and it is amazing. It is amazing, and I'm very thankful. Very thankful.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I
Nikki,
don't want any
Oh.
dehumidifiers. I'm sorry,
you're
getting a
good.
bad name. We want all, I'm happy to answer questions about other manufacturers and other installs, and I'll go in and, they'll be like, well, this dehumidifier doesn't work, so we're going to rip it out and put in one of yours. I'm like, no, just set it up right. The homeowner's already paid for it. You'll be
Right.
the hero here. Just set it up
Yeah.
right. And,
Yep.
and let's make sure that we're doing this all together, because we need it.
What is the saying? Oh, high tide raises ships. What are we talking about
All
here? What
boats
is it again?
rise.
When it rains, boats get taller. I don't know, something like
When
that.
it rains, buy a dehu and
Yeah, there you
tides
go.
and ships. I don't know. I mess it up. I
Nikki-
think Angry Ed's getting angrier now.
Yeah, exactly. He's looking right at me too. Like I feel pressure suddenly.
Stop judging me, Ed. Come on. He's always judging me.
Well, thanks
But,
for
yeah.
coming on, Nikki. We appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys all for joining us tonight. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys in the chat.